NATO exists for two purposes: collective defense. We now have 29 members and possibly soon a 30th. And that collective defense has clearly worked since the end of World War II, through the Cold War, and through other conflicts. NATO has worked very successfully. Secondly, NATO exists increasingly to promote common values, democratic commitments, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom to express oneself and politically to organize. Those are really important values. We've seen some backsliding by some members, but we've also seen many newer members embrace those values and benefit from the protection NATO provides in fostering those values. And we want to see more of that. What one worries about with ISIS is that having lost their geographic caliphate, self-proclaimed caliphate, that now they'll sort of scatter as unseen cells, unidentified cells that can activate anytime they want and create real havoc and damage. So in some ways, maybe by not having ISIS concentrated in identifiable geography, we risk their dissipating and becoming harder to detect. I remind my friends here in the United States that, frankly, without the Kurds and without the Peshmerga, ISIS would never have been defeated on the battlefield. It was the Kurds that fought. And it was the Kurds that stood side by side with us, and we stood side by side with them. It is very important that nobody turned their back on that accomplishment and the commitment the Kurds made to this very important effort. My hope is that this is a family feud that can be overcome. But NATO is going to have serious problems with the Turkish decision to go ahead with a Russian provided missile defense system, which is incompatible with the sale of F-35s to Turkey. And as we have seen this week, the United States has suspended the delivery of those F-35s, even though some of them, some component parts, are actually produced in Turkey. Obviously, as I mentioned, NATO is not just collective defense, though it is that. It's also about shared values. And there's a growing concern that President Erdogan has strayed at times from those strayed values and shown some authoritarian streaks that we worry about. Recent municipal elections are reassuring that the opposition still has life in it and can defeat the governing party in urban areas in Turkey, and that's healthy for democracy. So my hope is that over time we'll be able to work out a relationship with Turkey as we've had in the past. It's a rough patch right now, but I don't think that's going to characterize long-term how we relate to one another and Turkey's rightful role in NATO.